Story time on how my high school sweetheart of 19 years was cheating on me with a 19-year-old and living a double life. All because he told me he had an overnight job and I believed him. So I married my high school sweetheart when we were just 19 years old. Had 3 children, we had a beautiful house, amazing careers. Our life was what anybody would want to dream of. We were happy, family parties, everything was just amazing. As you can imagine, marrying your high school sweetheart means that we had high school friends, we had get-togethers, we had everything anybody would literally want. From the age of 19 to 37, I never doubted my husband for 1 second. He never gave me a reason to ever doubt him. But one day he came to me and told me, hey, I'm going to get an overnight job. And I think it would be great because we're going to have more money for vacations, more money for expenses. And I was like, well, I have a job. You have a good job. We really don't need it. But he convinced me and I said, it won't hurt to have extra income. Into the job, he's buying us gifts, he's taking us out, but he gets us new phones and tells us that we have to give back our old phones, including his old phone. We do, and we're happy with their new phones. Everything again is going good. Until 3 months into this new overnight job, I noticed that my husband has stopped looking for me in the bedroom and he stopped being intimate with me. Like, he's not even touching me. Anyway, like literally anyway. So then I bring it up to him and I say, hey, we haven't been intimate in a while. Is there something going on? So then he tells me, well, I just figured maybe your endometriosis was flaring up, or maybe your uterine fibroids were bothering you because I suffer with really heavy periods. I told him, well, that's a good reason. I understand, but we've always made it work before, so why can't we make it work now? So then I noticed that he tried to start looking for me more in the bedroom, and we started to get back into kind of sort of a normal rhythm, but he was still really cold, but I attributed it to him just working 2 jobs. 6 months later, one day I'm cleaning out our garage because we were having issues with like mice and rodents, and I find his old phone that he had said he had given back when we had given back all the phones that we had to upgrade them. My heart dropped, as you could imagine, and I went inside because it was dead and I charged it. When it came back on, there was like 30 text messages, so many missed calls. And my husband walks in the door, and my husband is kind of a dark man. But when I tell you, the color left his face. And I simply asked him, why is this phone still here? And like a scene of a movie, the phone rings. I swipe it open, and I say, hello? She says, hello? Who is this? I say, who is this? She says, my name is Sophia. I say, I'm Armando's wife. And then she goes, wife? He told me he wasn't married. He told me he didn't have nobody. We proceed to have a conversation, and what I didn't notice was that my husband had actually left. And as I'm talking to Sophia, and she's telling me her side of the story, and I'm very calmly telling her my side of the story, I hear my husband's voice in the background of her cell phone. You see, my husband had not only just left and didn't explain anything to me, he actually went to go to her. He takes the phone from her and hangs up. I do not hear from my husband for over 2 weeks. 3 weeks go by. Nothing. I hadn't heard nothing from my husband, but he had been talking to our kids. And the rest will be in part 2. Part 2, how I caught my husband of 19 years, my high school sweetheart, cheating on me with a 19-year-old and living a double life. So 3 weeks in totality go by, and I know that he's still talking to our daughters, but he is not reaching out to me. And one thing I'm going to tell you, I never reached out to him. When he left, I decided, if you're going to leave, I'm not going to beg you. I don't need an explanation. If you decided to blow up our family, well, then you have your own reasons for doing that. Because you see, my mother and father raised me to never beg a man, to never run after a man. And even though I had been married to that man as many years as I had been, I was not about to chase him. So I stood on my pride and my morals and let him go. So one day when I got out of work, I come home and I noticed that all his things are gone. And I also noticed that the movers had taken the majority of the things that he had bought in from the house that were under his name. Like his TV, his PlayStation, a lot of the things that he used. I found a letter and divorce papers on our counter. And in that letter, he basically says that he had fallen in love with this woman, that he did start this overnight job, but that he had met her and just fell so much in love with her that he knew that he couldn't live one more day without her. And that he really tried to live a double life, but that it was getting too much, and that he was actually glad he got caught. He told me, I'll give you anything you want. Let's just get a peaceful divorce. Let's just do everything right by our girls, because we had 3 older daughters. Once my daughters knew that their father was divorcing me and everything, like the whole truth to the story, because of course I told them what was in the letter, I let them read the letter. They all decided to cut off their dad because they could not believe that their dad blew up their entire life, childhood for a 19-year-old woman. And I told my daughters, whether you choose to have a relationship with your father or not, that is your choice. I never spoke down on him. I never said anything negative. I just let my daughters make their own choices. My ex-husband never reached out to me. We went through our entire divorce proceedings, assets, everything. He never once reached out to me. I think he thought I was going to call him, but I never did. Like I said, so my daughters cut him off. 3 years later, I met the love of my life. And 2 years after that, I married him. So at this point in the story, I am now 42. So 5 years have went by, almost 6 years go by, and I get a phone call one day from my ex-husband's phone number, and I never changed my number. Like I said, I literally stood on business because I'm not going to block you and give you power or change my number. When I tell you this man was calling like a woman, nose flaring, like the suspiro and everything, like the... He called to tell me basically that Sofia had left him for a younger man. He also called to tell me how sorry he was that he blew up his family. He was sorry that he had lost his daughters in the process and how he regretted it and how sorry he was in general. And when I tell you, I literally wanted to tell him, karma got you, boo. Karma got you, bookie. I didn't. All I said was, I hope you heal and I hope you're as strong as me and your daughters were this entire time. And told him to delete my number. Till this day, his daughters and I don't even know what happened to him. Fue como la tierra se lo tragó. The moral of the story, the grass is not always greener on the other side.